A bipartisan meeting on immigration policy is set for tomorrow at the White House. President Trump returns from a weekend retreat at Camp David, where he met GOP leaders to discuss immigration reform. He's hoping for a deal with Democrats on the fate of young immigrants brought to the country illegally as children. But one fundraising group is telling Democrats to reject any bill that doesn't include protections for the so-called dreamers. Joining us now is Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks.
Let's talk about DACA. As Attorney General, you are focused on the law, but do you see any merit to the argument that dreamers should stay in the U.S.?
Look, I think it's a legitimate argument. These kids have been here a long time, but I think it needs to be done the right way, which is Congress needs to make a law about this, not the executive branch, not some agency, not the president. This is all about doing it the right way and following the Constitution.
President Trump has said that immigration reform must contain some provision about the border wall. You're in Texas, right on the border. Why is that so important?
Well, as Texans, we deal with crime every day from illegals. We've had over 600,000 reported crimes in the last 6 years. We've had 1,200 homicides. We've had sexual assaults. We deal with this on a daily basis. And so border security, wall or border agents, better technology, we care about that because it affects our daily lives.
Let's move on to abortion, an issue that our audience cares very much about. Late last year, there was an illegal immigrant who wanted to have an abortion. You filed to stop it, but it happened anyway. Give us some insight into that case.
So somebody came across the border. They wanted an abortion. The ACLU and others tried to help them. The Department of Justice tried to stop it. It went all the way to the Court of Appeals in D.C., lost, but the DOJ was going to file with the Supreme Court, and before that could get done, the woman had an abortion. So it's just an issue I know we're going to have to deal with in the future, because Texas being on the border, we're going to become, if we don't deal with this, we are going to become basically a sanctuary state for abortion.
People from other countries are going to be coming in. Is this their constitutional right to get an abortion?
So we would argue no. You don't have a constitutional right. If you have no substantial ties to the country, you shouldn't have the right to an abortion. You shouldn't have any constitutional rights. And so this idea that somehow you can just cross our border and we're going to let you have an abortion, to me, is not constitutional.
And you fear copycats?
Absolutely. I think it's going to happen over and over. It's already happened, 2 more times, and it's going to happen in the future. If we open that floodgate, we're going to have all kinds of issues, including this one.
What needs to happen?
So the courts need to stop it. I mean, that's where it's going to end up, and they're going to have to opine on whether it's a constitutional right for somebody that comes across the border to have an abortion.
And that will go to the Supreme Court?
Ultimately, I would expect that to happen.
And the court is pretty divided, so that's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly, and that's why these appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals and district courts really do matter.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.